I think the circle of fifths is backward, and it has everything to do with our perception of time. The circle of fifths is the most important diagram in all of music theory, arguably. And it first appeared in 1677 in a book called Grammatica by Ukrainian composer and music theorist Nikolai Daletsky, seen here on the $10 bill. And it's been a very important visual aid for musicians and composers and arrangers ever since. So why is it so important? Well, it has several uses. One, it lays out all 12 chromatic tones in a symmetrical pattern, a pattern of fifths or fourths. And it visualizes those two intervals, which are arguably the two most important intervals in all of music. Notice how the perfect fifth, when you go up to G from C, that's a perfect fifth up, and you go down, it's a perfect fourth down. That's interval inversion, and then it's a really important concept to understand when you're talking about music in general, but when you're talking about the circle of fifths, it's also the circle of fourths if you go to the left, or it could be the circle of fourths if you're going to the right, but you're going in descending order. You're going down by fourths. If you go to the left and you go up by fourths, you could also go down by fifths. Right? So it's important to understand the concept of interval inversion. The second reason the circle of fifths is so important is it helps us learn key signatures. Like at the top, the key signature of C, 0 sharp, 0 flats, right? If you go to the right and go to G, you have 1 sharp. This concept for me this is when the circle of fifths was introduced to me in high school. Probably, I think, my freshman, sophomore year. My band director put this crazy looking design up on the wall, and I'm like, oh man, looks like math. But what Mr. Eicher, my band director in high school, shout out to Mr. E, what he was teaching us was how to learn key signatures in a methodical way, and the circle of fifths is one way to do that. But that's not all it's good for. It's also good for a third reason. It trains us in the movement of functional harmony. And when I say functional harmony, I mean harmony that is defined by a dominant to tonic relationship, or a 5 chord to a 1 chord. 5-1, that perfect authentic cadence kind of sound is the signature of functional tonal harmony, which is the movement of a descending fifth, 5 chord to 1 chord, or an ascending fourth. It's the same from G to C. Ascending fourth is equivalent to descending fifth. Either way, you're getting from C to G. And that's because of interval inversion. And why I think the circle of fifths is backward is because ever since the invention of the clock in whatever year, I don't know what year that was. If anybody knows, leave a comment and let me know. And ever since the invention of the clock, we've associated the movement forward in time with what we call clockwise motion, starting at the top and moving to the right. And ever since the invention of tonal harmony, or some would say the discovery of tonal harmony, we have associated the forward motion in music with the authentic cadence, a 5 chord to 1 chord, which is a descending fifth or ascending fourth. Either way, that's to the left, counterclockwise on the circle of fifths. What we consider forward motion in music moves counterclockwise on the circle of fifths, which to me is counterintuitive. So I'm proposing that we flip it like this, so that it accurately reflects how we associate the forward motion in time with the forward motion in music, specifically functional tonal music. Now I know what you're thinking, Keith, that is impossible. We can't just undo 350 years of tradition and just flip the circle. Nikolai Daletsky would be rolling in his grave. We would have to reprint all the textbooks, and what are we supposed to tell this guy? No, I'm not saying we should do all that. Textbooks, they kill a lot of trees, and I'm told that tattoo removal is quite painful. No, I'm simply suggesting that we have a new version that we call the harmonic circle of fifths, which is essentially the circle of fourths. Right? If we move to the right, we're moving up by a perfect fourth, or down by a perfect fifth. Again, interval inversions. And hopefully this can help musicians learn chord progressions in a more logical way. Or maybe this is a terrible idea and it'll only cause more confusion because now we have to learn yet another diagram to understand music. But hopefully this could help us understand music even better.
Yeah. Who this? This beat. Yo, who this? Yo, who this? Who this?